This is my reaction to The Curse of Crystal Cove Explained, a Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated timeline, part 1 by Crespo? Crespo? I hope I'm saying your name right. Anyway, it's been a while since I've done any Scooby-Doo related content. Hello, how are y'all? Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, I reacted to Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated back in the day, a few years ago. And it's like the best Scooby-Doo series ever, obviously. And someone was talking to me about this. I'm like, oh yeah, there's this whole like thing where it like explains the Crystal Cove and like the timeline and everything. And it's really interesting. And so they're like, you should react to it. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. So yeah, so that's what we're doing here today. Yeah. So thank you, Crespo, I don't know how to say your name, but Crespo, for making this video. If you do, for somehow stumble across this, and you're like, hey, don't react to my video, then please feel free to tell me and I will delete this immediately. So, yeah. Or if you're fine with it, be like, hey, thanks for reacting to my video. I'll be like, cool, and like, no, it's all good. Or if you don't really care, you can just be like, I don't really care, and I'll be like, cool. And then I might just keep doing it, if it's interesting. But yeah, no, because I'm excited. It's been a hot minute since I've seen Mystery Incorporated, so I'm excited to get a little refresher with this. Although it's part 1 of the timeline, so I feel like part 2 and other parts might come out soon, so let's go. This is already bringing me back to the music. Good loading. Complete.
Hello.
Hey.
Look.
You're welcome. Hey,
Look.
Navi, what the fuck? What are you doing here?
The Curse of Crystal Cove is by far the most interesting part of Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated.
It
The
is.
Curse of Crystal Cove is one that looms over the town and is responsible for the many strange occurrences that happens to the townsfolk. It is responsible for the paranormal and inexplainable historical events that plague the town every so often, but more importantly, the bone-chilling disappearances of every mystery-solving team that has ever tried to investigate it or look for the treasure that surrounds it.
Stop thinking about that treasure. It's cursed our whole lives, ruined everything we ever were.
It's them. The kids who disappeared. Crystal Cove High's Mystery Solvers Club. Mystery Incorporated.
Like, these kids were just like us.
My real name isn't Angel Dynamite. It's Cassidy Williams.
Yeah.
I'm one of the original members of Mystery Incorporated.
This show's so good. I need to binge
Don't
watch it
give
again.
up. This has all happened before.
Hello, my name is Crespo and today I'll be
Crespo,
explaining the origins of the
How
Curse
are you?
of Crystal Cove, where it came from, how it came to be, and the mysterious entity that surrounds it.
They called themselves Makuben.
Chapter 1, The Hunters of Secrets.
Which means
That was the first
Hunters
group.
of Secrets.
Yeah,
In Yucatan, a group of 4 Mayans called the Hunters of Secrets and their pet jaguar encountered an entity bound inside a crystal sarcophagus. The entity inside the sarcophagus tried to manipulate the Hunters of Secrets to release it from its prison. However, the Hunters realized that the entity was evil, and they tried to destroy it with the heart of the jaguar, a spear made of a unique stone. But they were interrupted by Spanish conquistadors who took the sarcophagus thinking it to be a great treasure, preventing the evil from being destroyed. The Hunters of Secrets were the original group of mystery solvers to be manipulated by the entity, and they wouldn't be the last.
no, they would not.
And I were overtaken with a desire to find this great
Chapter 2,
treasure.
The Spanish Conquistadors. Yeah.
And after
I still don't know how to say that word.
we did.
Conquista. Nope, not even gonna try.
After the conquistadors found the
If you see my
sarcophagus,
reaction,
they
Mr.
took it
Incorporated,
aboard
you know
their
I
ship,
had issues
thinking
saying
they
that.
had found a great treasure.
And I forgot until just now that I had
Santa
trouble with
Luisa
that.
was Fernando Alguire, who
Yes.
had led the search for the crystal sarcophagus, as he had heard great tales about it, and had been searching for it for years.
That's true.
While on board, Captain Alguire wrote a ship manifest. In his manifest, he detailed that after his crew took the sarcophagus aboard the ship, they realized that something was alive inside it, an entity of some sort, and that entity was evil. In a short time, the entity drove them to commit evil, influencing them to steal, pillage, and destroy. Only after much destruction did the conquistadors realize what they had done. They came to their senses and set out to get rid of the sarcophagus. Captain Alguire ordered his crew to take the ship somewhere far. After sailing as far as they could, their ship washed ashore on an undiscovered cove in 1630, which they named Crystal Cove. a town that would later come to harbor the curse. Captain Alguire buried the sarcophagus deep beneath Crystal Cove, along with any treasure that he had amassed from previous adventures, and as an extra precaution he hid—
Oh no, lag! Buffering. Why? Why must you do this to me?
And as an extra precaution he hid the map he had used to find the sarcophagus. The map he had used was the planispheric disc,
Yes.
a disc that could be divided into 6 parts and that could point to any location in the world. To ensure that nobody could ever get their hands on the disc and risk freeing the entity, Captain Alguire broke the disc into 6 pieces and gave the pieces to his crewmates with the exception of one, which he kept for himself. He took his piece and concealed it in his ship, and then he hid his ship on top of a mountain where no one would be able to find it. After he and his crewmates separated, nearly all of them disappeared without a trace, thus setting in motion the curse of Crystal Cove.
Beware, Nibiru is coming. This
Brad.
has all happened before. It begins with the enemy.
Eternitas Mysterium.
In
Yes.
1765, the curse would be dredged up by a group of Spanish missionaries who established the first town in Crystal Cove, years after the Conquistadors had disappeared. The missionaries would not only encounter the evil entity, but they would also uncover pieces of the planispheric disc. The missionaries that consisted of Friar Gabriel Serra, his 3 friends of mystery solvers, and their donkey Porto, encountered a conquistador one day. A conquistador that had been a part of the crew that had disappeared all those years ago. He told them a tale of great evil that they had found in Yucatan and brought to Crystal Cove, but he couldn't finish the story before his madness got the best of him and he vanished into the night, leaving behind 2 pieces of the planispheric disc. The friars quickly became obsessed with the 2 pieces of the disc, soon realizing there was an evil surrounding it, the evil being the crystal sarcophagus beneath the town that had latched onto the disc. The friars tried to destroy it, but the entity wouldn't allow them. The entity then manipulated their donkey, Porto, who had influenced into destroying the town. Porto set out to destroy the town with gunpowder barrels, but the friars tried to stop him. As they did, Porto stole 1 piece of the 2 discs and ran away into an alligator-infested swamp that was on the outskirts of town. Friar Gabriel chased him, however Porto was dragged away by an alligator, but not before Gabriel was able to retrieve the piece that Porto had taken. The other piece was lost at the bottom of the ocean along with half of Crystal Cove after Porto had blown it up. No longer under the spell of the disc, Friar Gabriel hid his piece in a barrel of cheese. He and the other friars disappeared soon after, just as the conquistadors had before.
Yeah.
After the friars disappeared, a pattern would begin of 4 members in a group of mystery solvers along with their animal companion disappearing after investigating the curse of Crystal Cove. The missionaries would be the first, and then be followed by the Alianza Mysterio, a group of mystery solvers and their pet skunk. Afterwards it was the Mystery Gang with their pet bull Tiny. These groups of 4 members and their talking animal friend would all take an interest in either the curse or the treasure rumored to be buried under Crystal Cove, unaware however of what really lay below the town.
Oswald Burlington had a mystery-solving gang, just like Mystery Incorporated.
Benevolent Lodge of Mystery, yeah.
The Benevolent Lodge of Mystery.
The curse would continue in the 1880s when another gang of mystery solvers stumbled across the mystery that surrounded Crystal Cove. Oswald P. Burlington and his mystery-solving friends in orangutan, the Benevolent Lodge of Mystery, would investigate the strange disappearances of the friars who set up the first town and the legends behind the Spanish conquistadors. But they too would disappear whilst in search of the curse, with the only surviving member of the group being Abigail Gluck. Abigail would continue her search with the help of a new talking animal companion by the name of Professor Pericles, who she met in Bavaria, Germany. With the help of Professor Pericles, she discovered the location of the disc that had been submerged underwater when Porto the donkey had blown up a portion of the town. For the rest of her life, Abigail continued looking for the piece underwater. She built a lab on the sea floor and designed robots that would aid in her search of the disc. Abigail would spend her entire life searching for the disc, but would die before ever laying eyes on it.
Yeah.
My family came upon a mysterious artifact.
Mystery Fellowship.
Finding the great cursed treasure rumored to lie beneath Crystal Cove.
The curse would claim another group of mystery solvers many years later, but this time it was a family, the Darrow family, or better known as the Mystery Fellowship. The family became enthralled with the idea of a treasure being buried beneath Crystal Cove and went out looking for it. They would find a piece of the disc, but it would corrupt them and make them turn against one another. On Halloween night, as the family fought over the disc they had found, an earthquake began as they were in their mansion. The ground opened up and the mansion began to sink underground with the Darrow family inside, but they barely noticed as they continued to fight over the disc. The Darrow family were trapped underground with no one knowing where they were, and their disappearance was labeled as another part of the curse of Crystal Cove.
We thought we found a treasure map, but it
Mystery
wasn't a treasure.
Incorporated.
It was a threat to not just our lives, but the lives of our families.
75 years later, the curse was dredged up again, this time by Mystery Incorporated, a group of teenage mystery solvers who were interested in the disappearances of people in the town, specifically the disappearances of groups of 4 with an animal companion. Mystery Incorporated included Brad Charles and Judy Reeves, Ricky Owens and Cassidy Williams, and Professor Pericles, who had previously helped Abigail Gluck, a former member of the Benevolent Lodge of Mystery, however, unbeknownst to his fellow group members. But Mystery Incorporated weren't the only ones interested in the curse at the time.
Yeah.
Fred Jones Sr., a young man who had heard about the curse of Crystal Cove, came to the town in search of its riches. He had more interest in the rumored treasure beneath the town than the actual curse. Fred Jones Sr. would begin his search while studying at Darrow University in the history department, which gave him access to the town archives. By day, he would look through archives in the library for details that could lead him to the treasure, and by night, he would also continue his search, but in disguise as the Freak of Crystal Cove. Through extensive research, he was able to find out about the planispheric disk, however, he wasn't able to find anything else. That was until Mystery Incorporated walked into the library that he was working in asking for help. The group had found a drawing of the planispheric disk, but they had no idea what they had stumbled across. But their mascot, Professor Pericles, did.
Yeah.
Pericles and Fred Jones Sr., both having a mutual interest in the treasure and being the only two who really knew what they were looking for, began to work together behind the backs of Mystery Incorporated to find the pieces of the disk. One day, when searching in the caves of Crystal Cove beneath the Spanish church, Mystery Incorporated would find a piece of the disc. However, Fred Jones Sr., dressed as the Freak of Crystal Cove, would ambush the children and force them to give him the piece. He then threatened them, forcing them to disappear without telling anyone, or something bad would happen to their loved ones. After forcing the children to disappear, Fred Jones then double-crossed Professor Pericles and framed him for their disappearances. This led to Professor Pericles being arrested, and Fred Jones would keep the piece of the disc as well as the drawing that Mystery Incorporated had found. But, years later, Brad Charles and Judy Reeves would try to return to Crystal Cove after marrying and having a little baby boy. Fred Jones Sr. saw this as a threat and kidnapped the baby boy. He told the couple that their boy would not be harmed if they stayed away. Brad and Judy were forced to leave once again, and Fred Jones Sr. would raise the son as his own. The teenagers were never found by their families, and their disappearance was blamed once again on the curse of Crystal Cove.
Mystery Incorporated 2.0, yes. Our Mystery Incorporated.
20 years later, another group of teenage mystery solvers, Velma, Shaggy, Scooby-Doo, Daphne, and Fred Jones Jr., would discover a locket that contained a picture of the original Mystery Incorporated and would breathe life into the curse once again. But this time, they would be the ones to end it.
Yeah.
Now that I have explained the curse, I will try to explain the evil entity inside the sarcophagus.
Yes.
According to the lore of Mystery Incorporated, the entity inside the sarcophagus is a sentient inhabitant called the Anunnaki of Sumerian myth that comes from the planet Nibiru, the planet Nibiru being of Babylonian astronomy. According to legend, every 3,600 years, Nibiru passes by the Earth, and the veil between the Anunnaki world and the human world is so thin that they are able to interact with one another. Though they are able to interact with each other, the Anunnaki have to inhabit an animal body to be able to speak. Throughout history, the Anunnaki have helped humans, but not all of them are good. The entity inside the sarcophagus is an unnamed evil Anunnaki who manipulates those who seek him, promising them power, wealth, and riches in return of being released. But it is clear that if released, he would wreak havoc on the world.
Oh.
Thank you for watching. In my next video, I'll be going over the curse after the disappearance of Mystery Inc., and I'll be summarizing the events of Season 1 and Season 2 of Mystery Incorporated.
Ooh, okay.
That video will be a continuation of this one, and will detail the current Mystery Gang's journey to uncover the truth about what really lies beneath Crystal Cove.
Okay. That my reaction to The Curse of Crystal Cove Explained, a Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated Timeline Part 1 by Crespo. That was so fun. Like, because watching the show, I kind of already knew a lot of this, but like, kind of seeing it in order really puts everything into more perspective, for me at least. It also made me want to rewatch the show again, because the show's so good. But again, thank you, Crespo, for making that. And again, if you have an issue with me reacting to your video, feel free to just tell me and I'll take this down, no problem. And even if you don't have a problem, still let me know. Just be like, yeah, no, it's fine, whatever. Just so I'm at ease, you know. Yeah, that was really cool. Damn, I love that show. So yeah, that's it.